in other part of the world. And welcome to today's edition of Africa Today. We are going to talk about religion and social transformation in Africa, a critical and appreciative perspective. This is one of the things that we have been talking about as Africans, as most people prefer a faster development to the slow rate of development on the African continent. Religion constitutes an inextricable part of African society. As such, political and socio-economic activities are often flavored with religious expressions and rituals. Whilst Africans are steeped in religiosity, this is expressed in many ways. Poverty, underdevelopment, and corruptions arrived on the continent. The question that arises as to whether African religiosity gives impetus to underdevelopment, to poverty, to corruption on a continent, or whether religion has a crucial role to play in the liberation of African societies from underdevelopment. By using the concept of religion in relation to African traditional religion, Christianity, and Islam, we are going to discuss the role of religion in the crisis of underdevelopment, poverty, and corruption in the African continent. And to help us do this beautiful discussion today, I will be your host. My name is Kwaku Edu. And today, we are fortunate to have in our midst our lovely brother who comes from Angola. His name is Stephen Chetingi Sakapaji. I hope I made the mention name right. I hope I got it right. That's good. He is currently a PhD candidate. Very good. Thank you very much, my brother. He is currently a PhD candidate with the Sophia University, one of Japan's topmost private university. He is an environmental sustainability expert. And very soon, in less than a month, he'll be conferred the Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Studies. So in the first place, let me say a big congratulations to you, my brother Stephen, for this great achievement. It's a very great achievement. Very soon, we will be obliged, wherever we meet him, to call him Dr. Steve. To also help us do the discussion today is our brother Kobe. Kobe is one of the alumni of the Young African Leaders Initiative. He completed in 2018. Well, most people call him Kobe, but officially he's called Mr. Emmanuel Kumi. Mr. Emmanuel Kumi and my own brother Steve, you are most welcome to Africa Today.
Thank you so much. We are
Our program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Our program is sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency that's located at Omotesando. They introduce TV commercials, TV drama, movie acting, modeling, etc. You can always get in touch with our sponsors on this email, info@bayside.biz. The Bayside, there's a hyphen between the bay and the side. .biz, B-I-Z. You can also reach them on 0354 133 252. So, gentlemen, you are most welcome to today's edition of Africa Today.
Thank you so much. We are most honored.
We really appreciate you
Very
being on
good.
this panel
Now,
and to really talk about issues that affect our own people back in Africa.
thank you very much. Now, I think all of you in one way or the other have had an experience with the African religiosity. We all know Christianity has been in existence in Africa for more than 2,000 years, and its enormous influence is undeniable. Evidence of such influence can be seen in, for example, in the number of Christian churches, names, and institutional establishment in many African societies. Also, in turn, Islam has also been around for a long period, as well as the usual African traditional religions. So, My first question to my brother Steve, before I come to my brother Kobe, historically, during the Industrial Revolution or the colonial expansion and thereafter, religious bodies in Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa have often relied on welfare and material aid in form of poverty relief program. My question here is, have this helped Africa's development? Has this really helped Africa's development? Having in mind what Dambisa Moyo, the Zambian economist, talked about, Africans not believe in the aid that are given by the West, and for that matter, North America. Historically, this is what has been the trend. We have always relied on, welfare and material aid, and most people say that this has actually been one of Africa's greatest enemies. What is your opinion on that? Let me start with my brother Steve before I come to Bobby.
Okay, thank you very much for actually being here in the first place, and having been given this opportunity to be able to talk about issues to do with African development, poverty, and all these issues. Firstly, I would like to say that religion in Africa is something huge. And I personally am a religious guy who has been brought up in a religious home. And everything that I have done all my life surrounds religion. And not only that, I would also mention
this is Jafric Radio.
Religion in Africa has been one of the most important thing to many Africans. Wherever you are, wherever you can start from Nigeria, you go down south part of Africa. Almost everyone really takes religion seriously. Coming back to the questions of what religion has done to Africa, particularly on the issues of poverty reduction and all those issues, I would say that I personally cannot deny the fact that somehow religion has really helped our people in terms of material and all those issues. I benefited from material goods from the missionaries in the remote part of Zambia and also in the remote part of Angola, where I lived most of my life. And so I would say that when it comes to material aspect, the material things, we as Africans have benefited a lot, because when they brought, especially, I'm just going to focus on Christianity. When Christianity was brought to Africa, it didn't just come as Christianity as in a religion, but they came with goods and material goods to give us as Africans. And you see, we have benefited from these goods. All we think of when these guys come and tell us about Christianity or tell us about Jesus or tell us about all these issues to do with Christianity, it's to do, we anticipate that we are going to get something out of it. And in many cases, we get clothes, we get books. I benefited from getting books, clothes during my time when I was doing my elementary school. And this is what we think of. And when we look at issues to do with religion, yes, in this aspect, yes, we have benefited quite all right. But we have to understand that religion on itself, despite of the fact that there are these issues that I've mentioned that we as Africans have benefited, me personally, we cannot completely say that religion has helped the African continent. When I'm talking about religion,
if I understand what you're trying to say,
yes. When I'm talking about religion, I'm not just talking about Christianity, but I'm talking about Islam and our own African traditional religion. You can go ahead. Yeah, you can ask a question.
Good, very good. Thank you very much. Now, if you you just talked about the material aspect of religion, what we got from the Christian religion, from the Islamic religion, when they were brought to us by the West, especially the Europe. That's what you mean. Well, how do you think this has undermined our Africans' development? Our development, be it human development, be it, any form of development. How do you think this has undermined our development, either as a country or as a continent as a whole?
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Please, can I make a contribution here?
Sure.
Okay. As my brother rightfully said, religion has its pros and cons, and we can't sit here and say that religion only has done Africa so bad. You know, we have the good things that we have also received from religion. But as your question goes, what are some of the effects that we have experienced from religion? In my experience, in my little experience, I know that religion has gone a long way to affect most of us, in some aspects of our lives, because honestly, the idea of religion is for you to have in mind that there's a creator, okay, and so there are some things that you have to do and not to do to please the creator. So in the quest of doing what you have to do to please this creator, it may also be going against or bringing a hinge or some kind of deterioration in development of your country, because if religion becomes the ultimate goal of a person in life, that means the country will not be at the person's heart, or the growth of the country or development of the country wouldn't be the primary goal of the person. Mm-hmm. So I wake up in the morning and think about church first without my country. So if you put religion ahead of your country, then that means there's a problem somewhere. Because if you really, I'm a Christian and I really boast of it, and there will be a problem if I put religion ahead of my country.
You're
honestly,
right.
That's true.
You're right.
And we shouldn't get it wrong.
Right.
That is not putting
that is
God
actually the case now.
What I mean to say is that religion should be separated from the creator. You see, the act and the rules and regulations governing this creator and how we worship this creator is what we may get it wrong. You see, but the idea of having a creator is not wrong, is not bad at all. But how we go about the activities may really bring down our development in Africa. I'll give a typical example. You see, in our church settings in Africa, especially in Ghana where I come from, we have church services that runs through the week, Monday to Monday. And so what is the sense in this? Like going to church from Monday to Monday to worship God, maybe to pray even for job opportunities, but not going to the field, not writing applications, not going to offices, visiting places to look for the job, but we rather choose to go to church and put our request across.
Yeah.
We prefer praying to God over our applications or job requests rather than going to the field or doing what is needful.
Yeah, I would rather also come in. Can I come in?
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead.
Yeah, just like my brother said, before Christianity and Islam came to Africa, we had our own African traditional religion. So, but even when we pushed prayer first, there were issues that we needed to do before the prayer took place. So it's not like a situation where you just rush to pray. No, we had a system. There are some steps that we are taking in order for us to be able to now pray. So in the case of when we have no rains or there's a huge drought. This is a huge situation in the region or in this kind of community. There were steps that were taken before you now go to the actual prayer. And it's the same thing with also Christianity. The problem we have in Africa right now, especially in the last 30 years, let me just say in the last generation, it's been like this mushrooming of these Pentecostal churches that have really taken down sub-Saharan Africa. And this is huge. I'm talking from the Christianity perspective of it because I'm a Christian. And so you've seen this mushrooming of Christian denominations that are not only there to preach the word of God, but they are there for a business kind of arrangement. You know, they go there instead of really trying to, help people realize who they are or build them. They are only there to get what they have.
Yes,
Yes,
we are spending our productive hours in church. That is basically what we are talking.
That's true, actually. No, I've got an experience, actually. For me, I can speak from my experience. I lived in Zambia for a long time, and Zambia has declared itself now in 1996. They declared that the nation is a Christian nation, so everything that goes on is all Christian. Okay, so you can see that most Zambians depend on Christianity. They live and stay with Christianity. Some of them from Sunday to Sunday, their time is spent to go to church and to be there and do what? Pray. How are you going to really be a productive citizen if you spend all your time from Sunday to Sunday in church? You cannot do that. We need to have a system that can help us to be able to be productive in life. We cannot be praying. Yes, we're not saying that praying is bad. No. The question is, how do you do your praying? You cannot keep on praying without making changes, especially in your own life. You need to work hard, change your system.
Thank you. Well, from Mrs. Submissions, you are all, I think you're all going in the same direction. You're all doing like that. Working hours that are supposed to be used for productive purposes, wrongly used for praying, is not really contributing to the development of our countries.
Exactly.
Areas can, what do you think might be the problem? Because look at these big pastors who usually organize prayer meetings. They are not many people. They are people who have really learned, who are learned people who know what they are doing, who know what they are about. Why do you think I don't think they are playing with the minds of people?
Okay. The truth of the fact is that the truth of the matter is that, I would say that sometimes some of the pastors are selfish, honestly, because church is their work, that is their business. Okay, so seeing a pastor in the house of God. Yes, of course. I mean, that is their work. That is their full-time work. You see, so seeing a pastor in the house of God is his business. Or let's treat it as a business, okay? He is in his office. So, trying to keep the members also with him in the church. Let me just put it this way: trying to keep the members with him in the church for long hours or for multiple times is becoming selfish, because the pastor is working and not allowing the members to go out there and also go to their offices to work. So it's just being. honestly, that is one of the points. And
All right. Sorry, Kobe, for cutting you short, but let me go to the scene.
Yes.
Do you also agree with Professor P.L.O. Lumumba
Mm-hmm.
that Christianity on the African continent has become or has been industrialized or has been commercialized? Let me put it that way. Has not been commercialized. Do you also agree with this professor? You know, he's a learned guy, he's a learned professor in law who actually believes that Christianity has not been commercialized. Do you also believe?
I totally agree with Professor Lumumba. I follow him every time. I have his page and I follow him every time. Trust me, Christianity in Africa has been commercialized. Especially our brothers. I'm not gonna say like I'm not gonna like try to play it like we all don't know. But especially our brothers from Nigeria, our brothers from the Congo, and our brothers from some of them from Ghana, they have made this a business. A business whereby they are doing this not because they really want to change people's lifestyles, but they are doing this simply because they want something out of it, and that's money. That's it. And some people are told, when you do this, when you pay this much, this is what you're gonna get. That's serious. Like, seriously, it's happening in Zambia. I've been in Zambia for a long time, and when I went to Angola, it was even worse. I moved to Angola after a long time staying in Zambia. Moved to Angola, it was worse there. People are being told that when you pay this much, at the end of this month or maybe after 2 months, this is what you're gonna get. That is completely stealing from the poor. These people are already poor, but then you push them in a situation where you want them to pay you this kind of money just because you're a pastor or because you're a prophet. They call themselves names, and now they are calling themselves papas or something. That is not really, really, really okay. In the actual sense, as in the real sense, I totally agree with Professor Lumumba when he says that Christianity has become like a business. Even the Christian, the bishops or the ones that we were relying on for many years, you'll find that they are not looking at issues or tackling issues based on exactly the belief or the Christianity beliefs. No, they are just looking at how they handle a certain matter is how connected they are to the government that is ruling. And this is serious in many countries, and this is why we're saying we need to have a system that controls who is to administer religion, especially Christianity, who should be the one to be doing these kind of activities in the Christian perspective. Who? Not everybody can just jump from nowhere. No, I came in and stuff.
Good. Thank you very much, my brother Steve. Now let me go back to Kobe. Kobe, there is a researcher who said that, or he has said, or he believes that Africans are notoriously religious. When you move to Nigeria, it's a whole industry, it's a whole economy, the Jesus economy, the religion economy.
Right.
Do you think there is a need for a regulatory authority to check all this development? As you rightly asserted, all of these are becoming a hindrance to Africa's development. So do you think there is a need for an authority to check all of these? Won't it spark any kind of anti-Christianity demonstration?
Thank you very much.
One of the most dicey.
Yeah, thank you very much for the question. I think that we need education. We need education on all this. What I think is that Africa indeed is, the rate at which religion is growing in Africa and the path that it's taking now cause for alarm, and we don't need to really put in I mean, we really need some strict measures and, you know, some kind of advice that the church leadership need to give to its members. You see, the reason why I think education will do well in this kind of situation is that you can't use force to tell somebody, don't go to church. If you go to church too much, it's going to do this. No. Sometimes it's the way we present the things to the people, because religion is really helping in other ways that maybe with time we may get to. So I think education is the key to really letting people know to what extent this is really bringing down development in the nation and in their lives. You know, personally, actually, there was a case in Ghana where a wife was beaten because she didn't cook for her husband, but went to church and spent the whole time at church. So this is a very practical case that really nobody needs to tell you that you have to be home and you know time, settle your husband food. That's your responsibility. And you don't need to be caned before you know this. Actually, force cannot be used, but education, if I'm given the time again, I can maybe go ahead with that.
Okay, thank you very much. This is becoming so interesting. We were rather sharing with us their thoughts and their views on the religion and social transformation in Africa, looking at it from a critical and appreciative perspective.
Can I just add one more issue?
Sure.
Yeah. Like my brother has already mentioned, you were asking us in what can be really done. You know, what can be done? You know, looking at exactly.
Actually, my brother Steve, if you can hold on to that, because that is actually the next question.
Okay.
Tackle it.
Okay.
So if you can hold on a bit.
Sure.
We will come to that topic.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, before that, I'd like to tell our listeners that on the 6th of March, which is Ghana's Independence Day, His Excellency the Ambassador of Ghana to Japan, Mr. Frank Ochiri, will be on Jafric Radio to tell us more about Ghana, and will be addressing the Ghanaian community and for that matter the African community in Japan on what Ghana is currently doing and how far Ghana has reached, looking at its journey that started from on the 6th of March 1987. So this is just to inform all of you that you can tune into Jafric Radio on the 6th of March at 10 in the morning, at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, you can also reach or participate in this program through our Facebook message chat. If you want to reach us through our Facebook message, you can easily reach us. And also, if you want to reach us on through our WhatsApp line, you can also do so through +81 You can also call into the studio and we will put you live on the program. Let me move on to my next question, which I guess are going to help us to dive a bit deeper into this. Now, if religion is so crucial and important to Africans, how these resources and actors, I'm talking about resources and I'm talking about actors, be mobilized to liberate the African society, 1, from underdevelopment, 2, from poverty, 3, from corruption. If religion is so important, we're talking of the Christian religion, we're talking of the Islamic religion, we're talking about the African traditional religion, how can we organize our resources and the actors within the Christianity, within the Islamic, within the African to liberalize the African societies from these endemic events. So let me start with my brother Stevie before we come to Bobby.
Okay.
Okay. There are actually many ways that we can use religion to help our people, to liberate our people from poverty, and also to see to it that development takes place. Firstly, we have to understand the role that religion plays in our societies. So if you look at Christianity or Islam, these are religions that bring people together, you know. So instead of these religions acting as an impediment to development or to poverty eradication, why don't we use them as a way, a path to development that is sustainable? And by this we can mention a lot of things here. I have 3 ways that we can make religion work for us as Africans, because we're entrenched in it. We are connected to it, so very much connected to it that we cannot run away from it. Even if we leave Africa, we come to other places, Japan or Canada, we as Africans, religion always controls who we are, and whatever we do, we always would try to always put religion first. And firstly, there are issues to do with how we can be able to build a community that is able to empower itself. In this case, when it says in the case of Christianity, why don't these prophets or pastors help in building a church that does not just depend on whoever gives them something, but a church that is built on the basis of empowering their members. You know, empowering is the best possible way to alleviate poverty issues in Africa. So if we start from the church, because not just the church, but every institution that is religious, every religious institution, why don't we start from there? We start from there, empowering our own people from these churches and these mosques, and be able to help them to be able to stand on their own. Empowering is the best. We cannot keep on relying for 2,000 years. Many countries in Africa, especially the ones that have pushed Christianity to that high level, they depend on these issues, these donor, I call them religious handouts, to survive. No, we don't need that. We need them to be empowered. Why don't we empower them? Empower them in the sense that they have their own tools to be able to stand on their own. By doing so, we will be able to help them to be able to develop, to be able to stand on them and see to it that they can have the basics of life. It starts from having the basics. Once you have the basics of life, you have 3 meals a day, you can be able to have all these basics, then you can see development taking place. It starts from there. That's one way.
Okay, now before you go on to your second point.
Yes.
You're talking about empowerment. Research also indicates that when the youth are empowered, when the youth are educated, when they have the necessary skills, when they have the necessary knowledge, they make the changes that we envisage. So in talking about empowering, would you advocate for a youth empowerment or empowerment towards the older generation? Which of them should the focus be? Should it be on the younger generation or on the older generation?
No, I mean, looking at Africa's population, and then we look at when you look at the ratio, we have the majority of Africans are youth. So our focus for now should not be based on the old guys. Our focus for now should not be based on the old folks. Our focus should be based on the youths, because majority of Africans are youths. From Nigeria to South Africa, all these, Most of them, maybe 60-70% of the population in most of these are sub-Saharan countries. I'm talking specifically about sub-Saharan countries. Most of them are youth. And so the focus of empowering should be focused on the youth. Empower them. And that also goes when we're talking about religion and how religion can play a role in empowering our youth. We need to have credible religious persons, not just these guys coming from nowhere because life is hard, then you want to make up a church so you can get something. No, we need credible guys, and there should be a system in who should be running these kind of religious institutions. Rwanda right now is doing that. In Rwanda, you cannot just come from nowhere and start setting up a church. You cannot do that. You need to have a degree. Yes, you need to have a degree. Then there should be back-up checkup. There should be checkup, like in America where they are pushing for gun control and gun checkup. They should see who you are. How have you been? Where were you born? How has been your life like? Was it all religious, or was it to do with or you just came up from nowhere and started showing up with interest to build up a church? It's from there where you can say that this guy is into this kind of business, not because for anything else, but this is how this guy was brought up. And this is what we need. Good. Not somebody coming from nowhere and then just comes today and says, oh, I'm building up a church and I need people to come in. That's where our problem is. And that's why many Africans, they are being exploited by these guys from nowhere, and they want just their money. Instead of them spending time to be productive and to be a productive citizen of a country, they spend most of their time doing what? Praying and praying and praying. Prayer cannot help us as Africans. This is the truth, and whoever says no, prayer cannot help us. You need to put things in place. You need to put in strategies and plans of your own life, and this will help you as a person. And then prayer can come in. You do your work and then you pray that it works well. That is how we should live as Africans, and this will really help us to develop and to reach the development status that many other countries have in the world.
Thank you very much, Steve, for this wonderful submission. Now, let me move on to Kobe.
Yes, sir. So,
you see, the use.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead. I was just going to put the same question to you. If you already got it, you can move ahead, please. Go on.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. This is a very interesting topic, and when we went to Yali, I think it was the first thing we treated in Yali, and it was very interesting that religion was the first thing that we treated in Yali. So I think that, as I said earlier, some kind of knowledge needs to be passed on to the people in Africa concerning religion. You know, religion is a very powerful tool in Africa, and so pastors and religious leaders are really regarded in our culture and in our African setting. So all presidents, in one way or the other, submit to their religious leaders. So religious leaders have a major role to play in national development. So I think that the power that the religious leaders have need to be utilized, into or need to be channeled to national development. One of the ways that they can do this is to organize some training sections and some on leadership and economic development in the churches, because honestly, people do listen to pastors, and the church has a congregation of all kinds of people, and their meeting sessions, are kind of relaxing, and that is where people go to really relax and listen to some kind of good news and all. So if one Sunday the pastor decides to invite an economist or someone who is really good in leadership to train some people, I think it will also, bring the standard of the church members or the religious people to a particular level. that would influence national development. So my second point here will be encouraging members to go into leadership and politics, because most religious bodies do not encourage their members to go into politics and leadership. Example is the Jehovah's Witness. You know, they don't want to be involved in anything that has to do with the nation. They don't even say the national anthem and the pledge and many other things, and they are waiting for the world to end so that they, I mean, I don't want to go into it, but you know, they don't participate in national development, which is very bad from my part. So the church should encourage people, just as the Holy Book says that Solomon, David, and the likes went into leadership.
Yeah.
We should encourage our members, if we so-called that, and we strongly believe that our religious bodies are doing well by inculcating good, morals into our people. That would be the best people to be in leadership and in politics. Because if because of time, let me just move to my next point. So also some kind of knowledge needs to be done in terms of some kind of sayings that we are fond of, like building our treasures in heaven, and then leaving our nations to perish. You see, so I think this thing has been misinterpreted most of the time to our people, that because some people say we are building our treasures in heaven, we leave everything that has to do with national development, and then we focus on only building our treasures in heaven. But I want to tell everyone that we are not yet in heaven.
That's the problem.
So we should build our country so that when we get to heaven, of course, also working on our spiritual side, so that when we get to heaven, we also enjoy there. But trust me, if you get here in Tokyo, you walk around town, you see that they have really built a paradise here. And that if, by God's grace, they get the opportunity to go to heaven,
They will have a bigger one.
there will be a bigger one there.
Kobe, I'm very happy you raised this particular point, because most people think that, once they have the notion that they have a place they are going to occupy, a heaven, a paradise, and for that matter, they do not have to do anything on this earth to make it a better place, because they have a better place somewhere waiting for them. Let me remind you that it's not only part of the Christianity. I mean, it's not the only problem in associated with a Christian religion. It is also in the Hinduism.
Yeah,
it's there. They have a better place prepared for them. So most people do not see the need to put in all their effort to make this place a better place for them to be.
That is
Look
very
at
sad. Just to add, we can name so many pastors who are living luxuriously.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of pastors are
They are living in their
luxuriously.
heaven.
Sorry. Yeah. So
they are living
if
in
you
their heaven.
yes, if you go to Nigeria and South Africa and all, most pastors have their private jets and all. You get what I mean? So
But
that
you know what they
means
tell the people?
build your treasures in heaven. I think
That's the
building
thing.
your treasure in heaven is a very major key. We shouldn't disregard that. However, you can also do something productive here on earth. The fact that you are building your treasures in heaven doesn't mean you should stay aloof and then just be a part of the nation. No, as a Christian, you have a major role in making sure that your nation is progressing, and by doing so, you are also subjecting yourself to the laws and the rules and regulations of the country.
Yes, that's true.
And doing so too means that you are being a good religious person, because we say that the voice of the people is the voice of God.
Yeah.
So it goes hand in hand. You can't take religion out of national development. It plays a major role. Just that we need to know specifically what needs to be done and what not needs to be done. and some kind of notions and some kind of sayings and some kind of strict adherence to some rules and regulations that are bringing down development needs to really look at and then reframed and rebranded for national development.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let me read this to you. This is coming from one of our listeners. Listen to what he has to say. He said, "Good evening, guys, on the program. I think the following observations are important. That Africans are ontologically religious. Before the ships that land guns, drinks, and Bibles on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean in the 1700s, we must be interested in investigating whether the majority of Africans are poor because of religion or despite religion. 3. Religious leaders are poor in Africa. It is religious followers who are materially poor. And 4. There is no any empirical evidence showing an inverse relationship between poverty rate and the number of cathedrals in a given country. Africa youth, wake up." This is a very interesting submission by one of our listeners. Very, very interesting. I really love the third and the fourth point where he said it is religious followers who are materially poor, and for that matter, there is no any empirical evidence to show an inverse relationship between poverty rate and number of cathedrals in a given country.
Just to add this, because you brought out the idea, the point on cathedral. This is a very practical thing that is happening now. And today in Ghana, you see, our leaders are going to build a national cathedral, which is involving about $100 million. Meanwhile, we do not have a lot of developmental projects going on. Currently, our Minister of Finance is not feeling well. He had to be to straight, right? I don't know the specific country that he is now, but he is receiving treatment abroad. This is a total shame and disgrace to our religious bodies, because why do we need to build a religious center? I'm a Christian, okay? Yeah. But I disagree with using $100 million to build a cathedral while we do not have developmental projects like hospital, other basic necessities that we need for the nation to move to the next level. It's a shame.
And then, can I just come in?
Yes, you can.
Maybe, I don't know, these African leaders, they copy stuff from each other. Because I don't know, because what you're talking about is exactly the same scenario that happened in Zambia just a year ago. The president decides from nowhere, comes up and says, "Oh, we are now going to build a cathedral for a Christian cathedral for the whole country, where we can be able to sit together and pray and do all those issues." I'm like, you can not spend millions of dollars to build a cathedral. Why can't you channel this money into developmental issues, health-wise, education-wise? So many people are living in poverty, and you decide to get millions and millions of dollars to build. It's absurd.
It's really sad, because honestly, it's something that if you really think about, then it's. I don't even know what word to really express your feeling. It's yes, you can't think far. You can't really think far. Honestly, about more than 70% of Ghanaians are Christians. Yeah. Okay, let's not disregard that fact. More than 70% of Ghanaians are Christians. But how many people will be able to really make use of this cathedral?
That's the point.
Like, honestly, at a point, But imagine building a hospital, and we want to build. You see, the rate at which corruption is growing in Ghana. Looking at the number of Christians or religious bodies that we have, not only Christians. I can't put Christians on the line. Christians and Muslims. There are a lot of really staunch religious people in Ghana. Let me personalize it to Ghana, because I can speak more to Ghanaians.
Exactly.
but the rate at which corruption is growing is really insane, honestly. So who are the people going to these religious centers? Our mosques and our churches. You see, yet we are using $100 million to build a cathedral for God. But we are serving a God that we cannot see with our eyes.
You see, this is where now you'd find that we have what we are calling misplaced priority.
Yes, I agree with you.
Misplaced priorities. Instead of us, I was watching the other day, looking at Zambia, Zimbabwe. These presidents are calling for national prayers to pray for a currency that is depreciating. Is that really normal to call for a national prayers to pray for a currency that is depreciating? That is absurd, because all you need are policies and strategies to be able to make your currency work well. You cannot come up with a scenario where you call the whole nation to have a national day of prayer just to pray for a currency that is depreciating. That is completely out of.
Yeah, I think that our religious leaders, our pastors, our imams, and other sheikhs and all need to really educate our people, because sometimes I think it's really too much. Religious, honestly, I'm a Christian. I really love to be a Christian, and I am a strong Christian. But there are some things I will not do. You see, and it doesn't even fall in the beliefs of Christianity. Honestly, sometimes I think God will be laughing at us, honestly, that these people, you are doing too much. Honestly. Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. You're doing too much.
Yeah.
You're doing something that I didn't even ask you to do.
Yeah, something that we could do easily. We want God to come from heaven to come and do it for us.
No,
and a clear example is developing our nation and our continent.
That's where the issue is. Yeah, it's kind of really.
All right.
Sometimes when you look at these issues, you go like, okay, I mean, this is why we are behind, because everything that we do. I mean, I know that Christianity or religion is really so much ingrained, or is so much entrenched into the system of us as Africans. But it has gone too far right now. It has really gone too far, whereby we can't function on our own, working outside the box and be able to make decisions on our own, unless the religion takes place.
You see,
and that's where we have a problem.
Yeah,
that's where we can't develop.
Yeah, just before. Yeah, sorry.
Before you come in, don't worry. I know you guys. You can speak for like 2 hours, because all of you are worried and really want to get the continent of Africa on the right path. It is rather unfortunate that we have to pray for a falling currency instead of putting in economic measures that sustain the value of the currency. All right, I'd like to remind our viewers and our listeners that Africa Today is sponsored by Bayside Modeling Agency that is located at Umutu Sando. They introduce TV commercials, TV drama, movie acting, modeling, etc. You can always get in touch with them on info@Bayside. There is a hyphen between the Bay and the side. .biz, B-I-Z. We would also like to remind you that on the 6th of March, that is on Ghana's Independence Day, His Excellency Ambassador Frank Ocho will be speaking to the Ghanaian community, and for that matter, Africans in general, on Jafric Radio at 10 o'clock in the morning. Kindly tune in and listen to His Excellency, the Ambassador, talking about it.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Bio.
Good morning.
Yes, Samba. We are back again.
Yes.
Oh, the previous one was very interesting.
Oh, yes.
How do you like the shabu shabu?
It's good. It's good. It was the first.
Yoni?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Today we are on Montesando.
Come home to royalty. Welcome Welcome to Adosu Royal Hotel, located at New Pomo, Akosomo. Nestled in the heart of New Pomo, Akosomo, where the river flows and the breeze whispers peace, lies a sanctuary of comfort, elegance, and love. Adosu Royal Hotel. The moment you arrive, you are not just a guest, you are a family. At Adosu Royal Hotel, love is abundant and every detail is designed with you in mind. A beautiful room with a view of the Volta River, clean crisp bedding, and a local decor. Relax in our spacious air conditionings. Wake up to the serene views and the sounds of nature. And yes, sumptuous breakfast, always with a smile. Whether it's business, romance, or a weekend escape, Adosu Royal Hotel has the space, the taste, and the grace. Come home to royalty. Adosu Royal Hotel, Akosomo, where love meets luxury. Contact us on 0242 980453 or 020 813-7933. You can send us email at adosuroyalhotel2@gmail.com. Thank you.